All right, what's good, y'all boys? We're back again with another recap for today. Was a very unique day to say the least. First thing, of course, is news for the day. We did have a red news folder come out at 8:30. This is PPI. Again, nothing really too crazy that I liked at all. I mean, we did have the data wick right here, and we kind of like stalled out on the way up. We didn't. We had this inversion right here that I'm just now seeing in hindsight. But besides that, there really wasn't much else. I mean, the data high got immediately ran, and then this data low right here was pretty much taken out off the rip. So nothing really much lower that I liked. I didn't trade market open today because I was at a meeting, so I actually missed basically every play before 10:30, I would say. But going into open, ideally, the draw liquidity was going to be previous day high. The reason previous day high is the draw is because number one, we're still relative. We're holding all bullish structure on the higher time frame, right? If I go to the 4 hour right here, all week we've still been holding these lower highs or higher lows, my bad, and we're still holding this far for value gap right here, as well as I believe a daily. I don't know why my shit's tweaking, as well as a daily right here as well. So we're holding a daily, we're holding a 4 hour. Coming into the day, we're also holding a 1 hour off of that move. By scaling just a little bit right here, we're also holding a 1 hour. So just relatively bullish on the day, bullish on the week. It's been bullish bias all week. We've kind of already known this. And then session liquidity was kind of already taken out because London highs was like somewhere over here. It already got taken. The only other thing maybe was going to be Asia highs, but Asia highs was already taken at the time too. So previous day high was really the only good draw on liquidity. We kind of have equal highs right here. Look at the 15 minute. We kind of have equal highs right there. So if you targeted that, that would have also been a pretty good target. But scaling down to the 1 minute off of open, no really real need to go lower. I mean, we had minor LR, but again, buy side was the complete bias for the day. We get a nice Judas swing off open, which I was kind of mad that I missed. We get this inversion right here on the 1 minute. A lot of the times you'd have had to pre-fire this to get good RR because if you took it off of the close, theoretically, yes, it still plays out to the draw, which is the previous day high right here. And then you could have ran stops below the inversion, so it'd look something like this right here, like a nice 1-to-1 basically. Inverse of value gap, Judas swing off of open. We were rejecting a 5 minute too at this time. If I go to where this candle is at, where is this at? Or I think it's a 15 minute. Yeah, we're rejecting a 15 minute right here as well. So again, just really, really nice play, honestly. Like again, if I was on the charts, I probably would have took this execution, especially seeing this rebounds out of that 15 minute. A lot of the times I like to pre-fire, so this probably would have been my entry right here. I would have probably pre-fired this with stops below this candle here, targeting previous day high just to get a better RR on my plays. Because again, once you start learning the model and you start learning, getting discretion within IVGs and market structure, it gets really easy to start pre-firing these plays and at least knowing the direction of which we're going, which is going to help you a lot as a trader. You feel me? Anyways, besides this play right here, honestly, we just ripped today. And I literally called it yesterday. I said today was going to rip. The reason why today ripped is because if we looked at yesterday's New York session, right, look at how choppy we are after CPI. This was just terrible price action. I still caught a W in this PA, but it was just really, really bad PA. We left this data low. We took out the data high, but we're just kind of choppy in between. So didn't really like anything there, and really choppy overnight too. So, when we have this higher time frame chop, like if I go to the 1 hour, right? If I go to the 1 hour, you can see that this is just a lot of chop, right? We're not really moving in this level here. When we have a lot of this chop, we're typically just gearing up to make a move, right? So Thursdays, in my opinion, and I've always said this, are always the best day of PA. To my model and the model that I teach for you guys, and the model that I've built for myself as well, Thursdays is the most highest probability day within the market for me, and it is the day you want to execute on with risk, right? So besides the Judas swing off of open, we kind of get like another rebounds play right here. We didn't even tap into this 5 minute though, which I didn't like. So if you're waiting for a retrace here, we didn't really get it right there. There's really no rebalance at all. We were just kind of ripping. And so when we're bullish like this, a lot of times you'll see this signature in price, right? Where we just kind of rip. So we did rebound until 1 minute, but there wasn't, or 1 minute for value gap right here, but there wasn't really any move higher entry here. Maybe unless you went to the 30 second. Now, as far as the second draw on liquidity being the higher time frame LRR, if we go to the I guess you can see it on the 15-minute time frame. Right here, we have an abundance of low resistance liquidity. All that means is just when we have trend line highs stacked up like this, right? One, two, three. All this is higher time frame too. You can see that it pushed down the market. This is an abundance of liquidity right here, right? That the market wants to go run. So a lot of the times when you run one of these highs, we're typically going to run all three or all the LRR per se. So you can just put your draw liquidity at the top of the LRR. And that's kind of how I went about doing it. And again, there's going to be more examples up above as well. And then really besides that, we just kind of continued ripping higher with no retrace. Um, Kind of like miniature retraces here, but again, nothing really too textbook, right? And so the main thing that I want to teach you guys is that when we have a day like this where we kind of just rip higher, right? We want to see a V-shaped move to the downside to confirm that we want to flip, right? Number one is we'll never typically flip off of a big move like this until about 10 a.m., right? Because at this point, we've probably ripped like 200 points, I would say. Yeah, 200 points right here. And so at this point, we're probably going to continue to extend higher, but you want to wait to at least 10 a.m. to at least look for that reversal because time matters a lot in the signature and price, right? So you want to wait till at least 10 a.m., right, which is right here. So I wouldn't have even looked for shorts until basically this candle here, right? But number one, we see that we failed to inverse this, tapped into it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Again, failed it, continued going higher. And then we kind of got like another false move right here. This is another inversion right here. The only reason I wouldn't have taken this is because look how non V shape this is, right? We have one candle, two candle, three candle, four candle, five, six, seven. Right? It took us 7 candles to get the close through there. Again, not really good and not really ideal when you want to see a change in structure or signature and price, right? To go lower, right? So at this point, I'm still waiting. At this, I think I got on the market like literally right here, and I'm just waiting. We continued ripping. The only thing I didn't like about the execution that you're about to see is that we had no higher time frame PD array. To the left, there's no 1 hour, there's no 4 hour, there's no fair value gap at all. That's my mic. Let me see. There's no fair value gap at all for us to rebalance out of. So again, didn't really like that. But the other thing I did like is that we created some LRR. And again, LRR just lowers this liquidity. It's just stacked highs or lows that are kind of in a trend, right? So this is trend, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You want to see a bunch of swing lows get put in, right? That creates lower resistance liquidity. I'll make an example right here. If I pull up the pad tool, which is right here, right? So let's say we're doing this, boom, 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 right? So a lot of the times this is lower resistance liquidity, even though they're not equal, they're trend line liquidity, right? So a lot of the times the market will manipulate higher, right? We'll manipulate higher and then we'll sweep all that trend line liquidity. This is just the LRR, right? Lower resistance liquidity. So anyways, going into the trade that I did take, right? Now we get the V-shaped bullish signature and price, right? Because we have the 1 minute, which is right here. It's a little bit skinnier than that. The 1 minute is right here. We took 1, 2, 3 candles, immediately closed through it. I didn't take it at the close I wanted to, but I kind of missed my entry. My entry was going to be like somewhere ideally here. And at this point, I just wanted to see us at least rebalance into the 1 minute fair value or 1 minute IVG. So anytime we rebalance into an IVG that was created, right, it becomes a BPR. So again, I'll just draw out another example of it, right? Let's say we get our V shape like this. This is the 1 minute IVG. Like this, say this is the IVG right here. Boom. Anytime we want to hold that structure and price, right? We want to see something where we rebalance lower, right, into this level, and then we retest going higher, right? And then that now becomes a BPR within price. So basically that's kind of how I went about my entry, right? So I kind of put my sell limit at the entry of the 1 minute BPR, expecting price to continue going lower. I had a very, very tight stop because I know that if price comes to where my stop loss is at, that the trade is pretty much invalidated and that we're probably bullish. We're probably going to continue going bullish, right? So that's the thing about taking these reversal plays, that you want to have your stop at a place to where it's like, all right, like if price does come back to my stop loss, then it's probably invalidated. It's probably not a good trade, or it's probably just the wrong time, right? So again, that's why my stop loss is where it's at. And then I put TP down here at the unfilled 5 minute. Now, the reason I targeted the 5 minute is because number one, right? Look how overextended price is at this time. Let me delete some of this real quick. All right, there we go. Look how overextended price is at this time, right? We're literally ripped what 400, 500 points, right? So again, the probability of you being correct about catching the top is very, very low. That's why I look for this specific signature and price, right? The next thing that we have with the trade is we have a stop hunt right here, just like this. So where we create that swing, right? We go higher, we create that swing lower, and then we sell off that liquidity, or we take out this minor liquidity that pushes down. This is the stop hunt, right? So this just reassures us that our stop loss is a little bit more protected. There was no SMT here, which would have pretty much been like the cherry on top, but we didn't get it here. So took my sell limit at the 1 minute BPR, and we immediately got a good rejection out of it. We rebalanced higher into another 1 minute fair value gap, right? And this is just going to be another criteria to see if we're going to hold structure, right? So we rebalance into this 1 minute and we reject lower. At this point, I'm going break even here, just because once we make that swing low and then a swing high in the trade, you want to go break even once we come back down to that swing low, right? So again, the same thing I always teach within the mentorship and within what I teach you guys, right, is that in this trade, when you go lower, make this swing low, put a swing high, right? And this becomes the break even once we cross this point, right? If you want to go break even mechanically, all right, if you're not using discretion. But this is my mechanical break even model. And so at this point, break even in the trade, basically top took the move to the unfilled 5 minute. The ideal draw, though, in which I actually did want, was the unfilled 1 hour here. At the time, it was an unfilled 30 minute, but the unfilled hourly was the ideal draw. Again, I'm not trying to catch the whole move down. I'm just trying to catch a retrace and get out, because at this point, I've already missed the entire move. I'm not trying to be greedy in the market. I'm just trying to get my 50 points and get out the market. And so you have to be able to identify, okay, have I already missed my ideal trade of the day? The answer was yes. Okay. If I find another setup, let me take the base hit and let me get off. You feel me? The reason unfilled hourly was a nice target is because we had the LRR here. We had an LRR right here too. And this second play was just tape read. This was not actually an execution, but this was probably more A plus, because now we have the SMT at the high. We have a rebalance until 1 minute fair value gap, which is right here, right? Plus the 1 minute inversion, because we get the 1 minute close, rebalance into fair value gap, and reject out of the fair value gap, going lower with LRR here and LRR here. Again, all LRR is just stacked lows and highs. You can literally see it in this level right here. We have a stop loss here, here, and then here, right? It's just liquidity resting within the market. You always want to ask yourself, where's the most liquidity resting in within the market? Again, that's how you kind of understand how we move, right? And then again, target was really simple, just unfilled hourly. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So, I mean, really missed the real move of the day in my eyes. I definitely missed the real move, but again, was able to execute upon that. Again, the last thing I'll go into is like the daily profile, right? So a lot of times when we get a huge move to the upside like this, we will rebalance, right? Even if we dump off open or we pump off open like how we did today, right? We're gonna get a rebalance at some point, but it's how strong of a rebalance are we gonna get, right? So like when the later into the open that we get the rebalance, which is about 10:30, typically the slower it is. So now you can see that this rebalance lower was actually very slow compared to the huge volume that we got to the upside. Whereas opposed to if we got something like this, right, and it's like 10, and then a lot of times once it's 10, we'll see a very mean move back to the downside. So something to work on is identifying like ideal profiles on the day, understanding like, okay, when I see this signature and price, we typically do this. So I'm going to execute this way. You feel me? And it's really a main thing that you learn over time within the market and through experience. But that's why journaling is important. And that's why I'm here to teach you guys how to navigate within different structures of price within these trade recaps. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.